and welcome to Crafting with Jane. We're looking today at more of the lovely INDIGOBLU stuff that's in their new boxed kit. I've got everything kept in there, so this is the box kit. It's a mixed media special 7, and you can get it from INDIGOBLU's website. I have been leaving a link down below so you can just find it, and I know some of you have already bought it because they do post internationally. Obviously internationally you then have to, you know, postage is more, but I'm trying to promote more British companies, you know, smaller companies, and this is one of those, and I just really love them. Anyway, so this is a piece of the pattern paper in there, and it's got Live Life in Full Bloom at the bottom in on the printing, and that's going to go on there. I'm not going to put a mat around it because again I'm trying to keep the layers fairly low for postage. This is a what do you call it, it's 5 3/4, so, or it is 15 centimeters square card base, and so this is going to be put on here. I say they're double-sided, which is lovely, and they're a reasonable weight as well. They're not sort of, you know, like flimsy papers, so that's going to go on there. Then what I've done is we're using the dies. So I have already done a little bit. So these are the dies in the magazine. You have an inner one for just cutting the inside shape out, and then you have one that you can put over the top so you can cut the whole thing out. I've cut the whole thing out. However, they are not, I haven't cut them identical because I wanted a little bit of a drop shadow on here. So you can see that you'll have to excuse the noise. There's some building work going on a few doors down, and they are, I don't know what they're doing, they're demolishing the whole building, I think. But so when this goes on, there is going to be a little bit of a drop shadow, but I need 2 because I've taken 2 circles. So that circle is that sort of size, so any circle that will fit your square card or whatever card you're doing. And then this one is just one size smaller, and that's going to go in on the center. So this is the one we're going to work with. And what I want to do is I want to put this in. Now you can see if it had been a bigger circle and a bigger card, what I could have done is I could have die cut it out of the circle. However, this circle isn't big enough, so if I die cut it like that, it would have cut the circle into pieces, which I didn't want. So I am going to stick this straight in on here, and I've got to be quite careful not to put too much glue outside because I want to colour that piece. So I'm going to use my Tombow, but I'm going to be hopefully as sparing as I can. Doesn't matter on the other layer, but on this layer I do need to be as sparing as I can. So I'm just, there we go. So I'm literally just taking this and not doing as much as I can. It's quite funny, the noise, they weren't drilling a little while ago, so I thought, right, I'll have the door open because we are in a heat wave at the moment. Now, all of you in countries that are hot, you will sort of probably laugh at this heat wave, but if the temperature is above what is considered a heat wave temperature, so here we've got temperatures that are running into just about 30 degrees, 29, 28, 27. I think anything over, and I'm not quite sure, but I think anything over in the south of England where I am, 26 or 27 for 3 consecutive days is considered to be a heat wave. Now, we haven't had any rain, or hadn't had any rain for 2 weeks. So my poor garden is getting very dry. But I went to bed last night and woke up this morning and it had rained. So we may well have had a thunderstorm in the night. I'm one of these lucky people that once I'm asleep, I sleep through absolutely anything. So I wouldn't have heard it even though I have my bedroom window open. But so it's too hot to really have the door open. Now I know I could have the door closed and the curtains closed, etc. But I like to have the fresh air coming through. Okay, so this is going to come across like this on the center, and it's going to come to there. It's not going to quite take the whole of that leaf in there, but that's fine because I can just cut that off. And then I've got a little pot here on the when you cut this out, you will get little leaf shapes that come from sort of the inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick those down in a few places so that they will come through. If you can hear some drinking noises, my little dog's just having, because it's very thirsty weather, she's drinking lots. Okay, so I'm just going to add some of these leaves down in on here because I've got the other sides of them. So I've got the blue one as well to go in, and then this fills up the space a little bit. And I don't want to overfill this. It's going to be quite a subtle card, but I have got, as long as I put these pieces so that they touch in here like that, so that they look as if they are part of the die cut, if you can see, and I've got a few of them, so I'm just going to stick them in carefully. Now this is where I could have some tweezers. I have got some tweezers actually. I got some. Let me grab these tweezers and see. I'm not very good at working with tweezers, so I'm just going to see if I can, okay, it might help me, it might not. As I say, I'm not very, don't want very much glue on here because I want to make sure that I can colour in on these pieces. And then we've got to, it's going to be a bit of piecing with the others. So I'm literally just sort of taking these pieces down like that. That's better. Tell you what, it's quite good having tweezers, isn't it? So let's have that. I'm so used to using my fingers though, but let's turn it that way up. I've got it on this piece so I can see it. I don't know whether the dark mat is distracting to you, but for me, it's easier than working on white, particularly in the summer, because you get quite, I work in my back room or my family room where I have a desk and I have lots of natural light because I have what's called a lantern light. So in the roof, it's like on the extension, I have a flat roof with what they call a lantern light in it, which allows an awful lot of light to come through, which is rather nice. So as you can see, I'm literally just adding these little pieces in as we go, all in on the white. Now, if you just wanted it on a white on white, it would look lovely as well. But I'm just adding as many little pieces as I can. And then I will just be gluing the other pieces in on top. So just get those in. And I'll put another, oh my goodness. The noise is getting, I don't know what they're quite doing now. Big drilly things. But as I say, hopefully it's not too disturbing and you can still hear me, which is the main thing. So Let me just get another one of these up. And my little dog's sitting outside, so as I say, it's one of those. Oh, did that one come unstuck, or have I just picked up two? Gracious me, I might have to close the door in a minute and just swelter for you, because I'm sure it is getting a little bit over noisy now, because it sounds as if they're going to go on for a while. Maybe that's stopped, hopefully. Can't really tell. Oh yes, this one was stuck down and it's come off. I can't remember where that was. Probably, let's put it round here, shall we? There we go. Okay, so literally I've worked around quite a few of them, not all of them, and I'm just going to take this little piece off of here. I've got some big scissors here. I'm just going to, like that. Okay, and again, you can use whatever dies you've got. You don't have to use these particular dies. I'm just showcasing them because they're new out and I think that they're rather nice. So I'm just going to turn that over and do this. And then what I've done is I've got various different shades of blues. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little scrap of card, that will do. And I'm just going to, because I don't know quite what blues I want. I want them fairly dark, so I'm just going to do that one. And let's do the darks on each one. That one. And if you do a little swatch, sometimes you can see the differences, because I want to have the different colours coming through. Okay, right, so that's quite nice, isn't it? So let's have that's the blue one. So I'm going to have some of these little flowers, and what I'm doing is I'm just going to very carefully draw inside. So this is going to be, has to be the same flower. Now I'm doing it like this because if I get it over the edge, it really doesn't matter. And as I say, if I was doing it in a larger piece, I would just take a piece and emboss it so that it was in there. Okay, that's quite a nice one, isn't it? Do I do all of those in that blue? No. I'm going to do them all in different ones because I fancy doing them in different ones. So let's have the next flower is this one. And as I say, I'm just doing it so that I can see. That's quite pretty in there, isn't it? I don't know whether I think I want to do quite a few sort of leafy things in there. The next one is this one, which is this one. I'm starting in the centre because then you can see how it builds up. The nice thing with use pens that have got, you've got a reasonably fine tip on it, because then you can get in there to sort of mark the stenciling bit out quite well. So I come round the outside pieces of this. This is quite a long one. I think I'm going to have to talk up a bit because then you can hear me over the noise, and as I say, hopefully it's not too distracting. It's just, you know, unfortunately we do have things that happen. Now, is that coming that way? I think it is. I think this one is coming out this way a bit on that flower, and it definitely comes down in on this one, doesn't it? Okay, so it's quite a nice big flower, this one. And I think I'm going to take this little blue one, which was this one, you can see it comes out a bit further, so that comes out to here on that one, comes down in on here, comes down in on this one to make it a bigger flower, and it comes down in that one, out in that one, and up there like that, and then that one's at the bottom. Right, so that's our 3 flowers. Now I've got this one, which is the dark blue, which I fancy doing the leaves in, so because they give just sort of dark. You can see on here I'm covering over some of it, which is not necessarily, oh, that's, I think these are probably, it's difficult to tell on there whether that's a leaf or that's part of this leaf, isn't it? So I'm just literally colouring in all of the leaf bits on here. Aha, we have quiet. Now I've said that, they'll probably start doing something else. So I'm literally just taking the inside of these, because it's just going to add, and it's not going to add a huge amount of colour on it, and that's really what I want. I just want there to be this hint of colour underneath, because it's going to be, I quite like sometimes doing cards that are, although they're pretty, they are fairly simple, so they're not something that's, you know, going to take forever and ever to do. And these are these sorts of cards, so I'm just taking it with the different colours, because this is sort of almost like a bluey green, but I wanted it all in blues to tone in with the blues that we were doing on the papers and the backgrounds. And although these are very different blues, by choosing quite a few, they will complement each other. I was hesitating there because I think that this one, which is there, is part of that. I don't know, maybe not. No, I'm going to do it as a leaf, because I think it looks quite leaf-like, doesn't it? Okay, so that's all the colouring in on there. Now we can put some sparkles and stuff like that in if we want to. I'm not going to, but what I am going to do is, because I need to fiddle with it, is to put this one in now, in over the top. So it's going to have a little bit of spacing underneath where the white is, and I want this bit to come in perfectly, but I've got a little bit of a shadow in on there. So let me take the glue to this. Now you can, if you don't want to do it with glue, you can always do it with double-sided sticky sheets and do it that way. I'm very much a wet glue person, as you know, and I tend to work with that more than anything else, because I find it fairly easy to just go through with a little pen like this. The sun's really, you can see, is starting to come through, so I hope it's not making too much of a difference in the lighting. Hopefully it's giving you, try and work with natural light as much as I can, and as I say, we don't have too much really nice weather. It doesn't last. We have proper seasons, so this is summer, and it's nice to have warm weather and to be able to wear, you know, sandals and things like that, which is nice, or slides as they call them now. Instead of flip-flops and things, they call them slides. Do love different names for things. Okay, I think that's probably enough glue on there. So I need to make sure that, as I say, these centerpieces are right. So there's a little dot in on there, isn't there? So that's going to come quite nicely in there. So I want the coloured part on here to come through as best as I can, which it does perfectly. I'm just going to tap that over on that side, and then I can just take my scissors and just cut this piece off on here because it's glued. I don't want it to stick to anything. Okay, so that's given us that bit. Now is the fun of the jigsaw puzzle pasting. Now that's a good one, easy one, because that's a big one. So I just need to get the tweezers, put that on there, and then I'm just going to take a little bit of, don't have to be so worried about where the glue comes, because, come on, it's going to come in. Oh dear, now my dog's, it's probably the postman or somebody coming. She is such a funny little soul. And she knows when I'm on video, because otherwise I would like shout at her to not bark, and then she stops immediately. Okay, so this one is going to come, oops, and then she does a little tiny woof, woof. As I say, you can tell my videos are live. I don't do editing and things like that. It's me crafting. Come along, join in, craft along with me. I think it's that one. Do you think it's that one? I think it's that one. Yes. Okay, so that one comes on there. Looks quite nice that you've got the extra layer on there. And as I say, you know, yes, this is going to take a little while, but anything that's worth doing is worth doing well. Now I've got to work out where this one is. I do say it is a bit of a puzzle. Let's bring that up just a little bit on there. We've got some in and some not because of the light of the sun, but hopefully it's not too distracting. So where does this one go, do we reckon? Oh, maybe it's that one. Is it that one? Yes, it must be that one. Let's pop that one in. But you can see that they do cover up quite nicely. I've got this one, which is up the top. Put that in that way. So, what's the weather like where you are? I hope it's nice. I must admit, I really do like, I'm very much a summer person. I don't like cold weather. I don't like, particularly we are in a cost of living crisis, and the fuel, I think, has been one of the worst things. You know, the price of fuel in the winter has like trebled. So it costs 3 times as much to heat our homes in the winter as it did a year ago, which is quite worrying, really, when you think about it. You know, you sort of turn around and think, good gracious, 3 times as much. It's quite frightening, really. So I do like the warmer weather where you don't, and the summertime. So we're approaching the 21st is the Midsummer's Eve, the summer solstice, which means that from then on in, the daylight starts. Is it that way? No, that's not that one, is it? I think it must be. Is it that one? No. Aha, this little one here. I've only got 2, haven't I? I don't think that's one at all. Don't think I used that one, so there's me picking one up, and it's not one that I've got. I've got this one and this one. That's one. That's that little one, I think. There. So yes, so after the 21st of this month, the clocks start to go back. And as I say, I always try and do my videos a couple of weeks in advance, so it might actually pass the 21st by the time this gets posted. But you then turn around and go like, oh, okay, so it's past the 21st. We're now going down to the 21st of December, which is midwinter, and that's the shortest day, so it goes by very quickly. So I try and make the most of the summer and the nice weather. That one can go in on there like that. There we go. Right, so that's done all of those. So that then can go in on here like that. And we can put it up wherever we want because it's a circle, so we can play with it when we get it in there. And I don't think I want to do the papers is at the back, so that's quite busy. I don't want to do too much. I want to keep this fairly sort of plain and simple because you don't have to over egg things. You can keep them, you know, really rather quite nice. So let's glue that down, turn it over and make sure that that's all stuck. Then I can get my card and my paper back in. That's going to go in on the centre like that, and I can have it with, I think I'm going to have it with the flowers up that way, I think. And then we can just put some, so I'm going to put it this way to put these on. Glue my paper. Comes up like that. I've got a little pond in my garden, and where it's been so dry, the little birds are, you can probably hear them. Now you can't hear that awful noise going on. They are really just hopping down to have a little drink of the water because it's so warm. Okay, so that's going to go in the centre like that. So I just need to glue that on. And we'll put that in that way like that. That goes in on the centre. I think that's looking quite pretty now. I like it in the keeping like the monochromes and things, and take that down there to make sure it's glued on, which it should do, which is good. So that's looking quite good. Now I want to add some twinklies on there, and I want to add some words. Now there are some really nice I can't remember which bit I put them in. I might have put them in here. There's some really nice, oh yes, here we are. There's 2 lots of words in here, and I've only used 1 lot. So we've got black on white or white on black. I think white on black on here. So what have I got? Bloom, create, inspire. You see, that's what I've done before. I like that. A beautiful mindset. That's quite nice. Beautiful you. Beautiful you's quite nice, isn't it? Let's have beautiful you. And I might just cut it down a bit. So, does it work? I don't know whether let's take it out of. I think it'll be all right. It's not quite the right sort of colour tone that I would normally go for, but I still think it'll work a bit. It's more creamy than white, but that's fine. We don't have to have it exactly the same. Now, am I going to be able to get it? I'll get my small scissors because I want to try and just separate it, and I don't want the I don't know how far that U, the Y, sorry, is going to come in on here. That's fine. Excellent. So we'll have the beautiful up in on. I need to cut that one down a bit, don't I? So we can just get that level or more level. So we'll have beautiful up in here like that. Do I put it outside? Oh. I think I'm going to have it outside this time. I'm going to have beautiful there, and I'm going to have you down on there. Do I have it in? I don't. Wonder if I can peel it off now. I don't like it there. Now let's see how good these are. Look at that. Just like washi tape, perfect. I want it inside. So we'll have beautiful here. And it's going to come over the leaf a bit, but that doesn't really matter that much. We're going to have the U just down on here. And I'm going to have to take that. Does that work? No, I don't like that either. Just looks a bit lumpy bumpy, doesn't it? Let's take this off before it's stuck on too much. And this should come off because it's been on once. Yeah, I don't like that. That can go in here. Where is it? Pop it back in there because I don't like that, because it's cream and I've done this in white. It's not going to work, and black won't work either really, because it's too harsh, I think. So I'm going to choose, what have I had something else out on here that I was, here we go. I'm going to put this, which is far softer, which is Love Beyond Words. This is from, oh, I don't know, I've had it a long time, and it's one of the other indigo blue sets that I think was with a magazine kit many years ago, but I do love this. I think that will work nicely. I might even take it into 3 separate words, we'll see. So that is the Beyond Words, and you see how that immediately, just because it's softer, just works better. So I'm just cutting this down so it's reasonably straight. So we'll have love like that. I'm going to put that in because I know I'm going to like this. There we go. And then that can go in just like that. In on there. So that's love. And then I do want them separate. Let's take that down, and we'll have that maybe right in the centre. I don't know whether I want that to, I might have to put a little bit more glue underneath that little corner. So that's the Beyond. That can go straight in on the top here. And then the words can go down at the bottom. And I think then that'll be fine before the sun comes. You can see it's encroaching up and encroaching up as we go. But let's put it up there a little bit then. We want the words bit to go down on there. I'm going to do it over these two so that it stays up in on the air, because I don't want to do it with foam pads. That just needs a little tiny bit of glue underneath this corner, because it's just not done quite enough. So that's like that. Right, that looks lovely like that. And then the last little bit is, I want to just have a little bit of sparkle on there. I hope you can, oh, we are getting, the sun's starting to really, let's put this up that way a little bit. It's where the sun's starting to come down. So the last little bit is, this is just glitter glue, and you have it in all sorts of different colours, and this is just sort of a 3-dimensional one, and I'm just going to add a little bit on here, just in the centre of the flowers, and all it does is just give it a little bit of a sparkle. So I'm just popping it in where the flowers are. These are quite small ones, but that's fine. I can just get that in like that. Don't want it on the leaves, I just want it on the little bits of the flower and just the bits that are showing. And I hope you can see, if I turn around and pick that up, you should hopefully be able to see it. Let's bring it up that way. You can see, yes you can see the sparkle coming through on there. So I'm going to stop now because the sun is literally coming right through, but you can see that on the natural colours. It does look really rather beautiful, and yet very simple. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.